Hey there folks, Andrew Griffiths here, how you doing? Hey, I want to pose a question. I want to ask you a very confronting question actually. I want to ask you, would your customers fight to save your business? It's a big question. And it's one that I ponder. And a few years back, I share a story, and I've shared it at many keynote kind of presentations where I talk about a company in South Australia called Spring Gully, and they used to, or they made condiments, you know, sauces, mustards, all that kind of stuff. And one day they just simply sent out a media release to say, look, we've been in business for 60 years rather, and we're going to close down. We just can't, you know, we can't afford to keep going. We're worried about not being able to pay our staff. It's just better for us to shut the doors. We're going to close in a couple of weeks. We can't crack the major supermarkets. They don't want to buy our products. And it was a big kind of deal in South Australia. And South Australians are very, you know, passionate about, you know, their produce and their products. Anyway, the story about this company closing down ended up in the media. Next thing, there's this whole Save Spring Gully kind of campaign that started. People are protesting in the streets. The radio started this campaign. It's in the newspapers. It's like, it is everywhere where these customers rallied to save this business. The owners of Spring Gully were just, you know, so overwhelmed with it, but saying, look, our problem is that we can't get into Coles and Woolies, we can't do bigger sales. It's very hard and expensive to be a micro kind of producer of, you know, condiments. Anyway, of course, one of the biggies, I can't remember now if it's Coles or Woolies, rang them up and said, we'll buy $1 million worth of your product now to help save you. When one buys, the other one rings up and says, well, I'll buy $2 million worth. Spring Gully was saved, put back on track, and you know, became this, you know, business. This was a few years ago now, pre-COVID, but it was a really interesting kind of story for me, you know, and it really, you know, you think that for your customers to rally around your business, you've got to be doing something kind of sexy. You've got to be an Apple of the world or something like that. Spring Gully, tomato sauce, mustard, chutneys, you know, things like that is not exactly what you would call sexy, not in my world anyway. So they were able to build this incredible loyalty, and they built it over 60 years by consistency, by making great products, by always being available, by listening to their customers, by constantly adapting and evolving based on what their customers' needs were and what they're explaining. They were able to build extraordinary customer relationships simply by building closer, deeper, more meaningful connections. And this is a concept of customer proximity, keeping your customers close. Now, we live in a world where it's actually now very easy to keep our customers distant, and that is a major issue, and I talk about this a great deal these days. We should be doing everything we can to keep our customers close. Now, if you can keep your customers close, which means you are building great relationships, you are constantly talking to them, asking them about what matters, what's important to them, and adapting and evolving your product offering according to what they're telling you, it's very likely you're going to build these strong relationships. And it's even more likely that if your customers are needed to, they may just fight for you, right? Because they know that you're there. And fight for you can mean anything, to say, hey, you know, we're going through a tough time, support us, you know, please help us, tell your friends we're growing, whatever it might be. The real kind of kicker for me is to just say, if you put your hand on your heart, took a step back and said, okay, would our customers fight to save us if we needed? And I'm going to say that most businesses would answer no to that if you're really honest, right? But if you look at those businesses and think about this yourself, think about businesses that you buy from, that you support, that you know, do business with, and which of those ones would you fight personally to save if they needed? If you heard that they're in trouble, there was a problem, you know, the owner was sick and they needed help, or I don't know, whatever it might be, you know, who would you fight for and why? Then look back at your own business and say, well, what do I need to be doing to make my business the kind of business that my customers would fight to help save it if I needed them to? Because that's the ultimate measure of deep customer connection and you're winning the war on this customer proximity. All right, food for thought, guys. Would your customers fight to save your business? Big, big topic. All right, that's it. That's my rave, over and done. I'm going down the beach. See you, folks. Bye-bye.